Alright, so you want to get into Goatman. Here is Slippin' Yimmy's. Oh my god. Here is Slippin' Yimmy's cage guide. Just wanted to give a warning. The video was pretty loud at the start because I didn't lower my game audio at all. So it's pretty bad. But that's why I put captions in the first half of this video. Also, those have like my credentials, so I know what I'm talking about. I've been playing Goatman in tournaments since he was released. I have won, I have lost, I have tied with him, and I know what I'm doing with him. It took me a while, but yes, I have a lot of experience with Goatman. And sorry about the audio problems at the start. They get better in the second half, so I hope you can still enjoy the video. I put captions, so I'm sorry, but try your best. Don't click off, please. Gonna be really important to master all these tricks now with the Goatman nerf. It is pretty big. It's not gonna kill him. He's still gonna be the #1 hunter in the game, but it's just gonna make it so at a top level, at the top tournament level, you are in the early game at least. You are really only gonna be allowed to miss one cage. Like usually you can get away with missing 1 or 2 cages in the early game, but now if you miss more than one, that is a long kite. The basics. Alright, first cage is really simple. I like to call it the insta cage because it's literally just clicking the button and walking backwards. Yeah, that is the first cage. We're starting very basic. You see this cage a lot in tournaments because it really gives the survivors very little time to react. To do really anything. I mean, if they see you aiming the cage, they're obviously going to be ready for a cage. If you just insta cage, they do not have that much time to react. Alright. Next cage. We're going to need presents for this one. Alright, next cage is, again, we're starting very simple. It's just a backstep cage. You know this. To get the experience with just how big you need to make it just takes time. I know it by heart by now. Just how big I need to make my cage slider before I backstep. And also just how long you need to also. I see some people delay the backstep a little bit and then do it. But yeah, that's cage 2. Now we're finally getting into something a bit advanced. This is a cage to get through a wall. So it's pretty hard to do, especially really quickly. Like in a match, you don't have time to stand around and wait. You have to do that very, very quickly. I'm gonna do that one more time. My tip is basically, you want your feet to be in the cage. Look at your feet. If your feet are in the cage, you're most likely gonna go through the wall. You can't do this on every wall, but really thin walls like this are really easy to do cage. I think I messed that one up. No, but it's kind of generous, but other times it's not. Really don't want to make that mistake, or if you even make it too big. I'm too good of a Goatman to make a mistake. You do it too big, you're just gonna end up on the same side. It doesn't really work out. So yeah, this takes a lot of practice. You can't do on every wall, of course. I don't think that will send me. No, it kind of did, but I was like on a thick wall, like let's say a rock. On some maps, you're not gonna be able to do this, but this is a very good trick. Very important that you know how to do this because there's really nothing the survivors can do. Like it blocks off the pallet that they're at, and there's nothing the survivors can do. They can't double back to the cage. It's a very easy way to get a hit. Alright, so you're usually gonna want to do this one after you. This cage isn't popular anymore because just how much energy. You can really, like in the early days of Goatman, you could spam energy. Not anymore. You definitely need to be a bit more conservative with your energy now. But the cage trick is as follows. We're just gonna wait until they get into a better area. So, you put a cage down. Let's wait till they get to these pallets. You put a cage down right here. And then you just dash back. And there. They cannot get through. You can do this basically anywhere. The problem is it just takes so much energy. Like, let's turn it off. That's about like 59 energy. But it's very good because it almost guarantees a hit. Survivors really, like, if you do it in the right place, survivors have nowhere to go and they will just take a hit. However, again, it just takes a lot of energy and you might not have the time to spend all that energy, especially with the nerfs coming in. So just be wary when you do that. It's kind of recommended to do one of the other tricks if you can. But that's not a bad trick. It's also very good if you mess up a cage. Like, you put a cage down too short. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna just do that. And they still get there. Right. Next cage is a cage to block pallets and windows. The way you kite Goatman cages are with pallets and windows. The strength of Goatman comes from being able to warp the kiting area. If you warp the kiting area into your favor and the servers have nothing, and you make them play a cage mind game, you will most likely win. And the way to do that is by blocking off pallets and windows. So my tip for blocking off windows is going to be, don't look at up here, look at the ground. If you block the window on the ground, the window will turn purple and you cannot walk through. This is too small, this is too big, and just look at the ground and you will be able to block it. Same works with down pallets. Let's wait till they put a pallet down. Same idea for block pallets. If you have, just look at the ground, you have a little bit down, you're going to be able to block it and turn it purple. So, this is a very important cage trick to know. You have to do this really quickly. You have to, because especially now, you are going to have to be extremely quick with this. Alright, a cage with no wall exit is my next tip. Let's go make our way over here. This is probably the most famous one because this is a very popular kiting spot. But the thing is about this kiting spot is you put this here. A big building is in the way. Big objects that are like these buildings and like other where the cage has nowhere to put you on the other side. It's gonna turn it into a black box. There's just no wall exit. There's simply nothing the survivors can do. They have to go very far away. There's no way to get through from here. They're gonna have to go all the way over here and all the way over here. Not even. And when a Goatman right behind you, you do not have time to do that. So, these are all over every map. That's why he's so popular on Eversleeping. Is there's so many places to do this. I don't think this works. Oh, it does. You do want to be careful though, because if you mess up, it puts you in a really bad spot. Let's make this a 12, I think. And the survivors are over here now. Very easy to lose them now, especially with the nerfs. There's gonna be moving all around the place and you have to chase them down. Alright, I have a TikTok posted about this trick. I love this trick. I used it in a tournament against CSL. You have to be very fast with it, but basically you you press the jump back, the cage, and then you turn your screen and press the cage again. You have to turn your screen very fast and press the cage back, like that. I go more in depth on my TikTok, but that's basically it. This is really good because, again, it blocks off. You do this at like pallets or windows, and it blocks off just you have to be go right up to the pallet or go right up to the wall you want to block, because that's where your cage is gonna land. I messed it up here. It's pretty hard to do consistently, and also it takes 60 energy, so it's not the greatest trick you can do right now. You see I'm messing it up a lot right now. But if you know how to do this and you find a scenario where you can do it, it is very worth it. Just keep in mind with the cage nerf, with the energy nerf, it's gonna be hard to find a situation where this is the best cage to do. These are just cages that interact with survivors. You are really gonna have to master on your own, but it's literally just a cage that I don't know how to show it in this box. It is really just a cage that teleports survivors while they're going to a pallet, while they're in a pallet. These guys won't go through it, but if it was a real person, I'll try to find some clips. My match against GSL, which I also have posted on my YouTube, has a lot of examples of this, where I put down a cage while they're going to the pallet, and they just get transported over here, and where to go? They just die. So, not a really good way to show this with bots, but if you go to my GSL match, there's a lot of examples. Oh my god, they're leaving. Alright, now, this is a cage to teleport to another side. I'm gonna wait for her to put it out. There we go. So, the cage to teleport to the other side, it's just as simple. Put a cage down. You go through, you walk a little bit. Obviously you have to do this very quickly. And what I'm noticing now is that survivors are just straight up predicting it. And so you have to be very quick with it. Survivors will sometimes predict it, so actually it's a mind game just to go on the same side because they just go into you. So yeah. Really fun trick to do. Not much survivors can do about it. Alright, the next trick are distance cages with one backstep. So you use this cage when you have to make a lot of distance really quickly. Also, yeah, the rest of the video just did not have voice recording, so I had to record over it, which probably means that it sounds better because my game audio was really loud, but whatever. If you're just trying to be the most efficient with your energy and the distance you're making, these are the cages you probably want to do. It's a bit slower, but you do get more distance just in a slower amount of time. Because when you do the backstep, there's just little pockets of missed distance you get. It sometimes probably not going to be too significant, but if it is, it's just better to do these normal cages because you get a little more distance. But yeah. So when chairing a survivor that in a chair that's farther away, it's not a good example because it's right here, but I like to do the chair cage first and then do my cage. It just allows for a smoother transition to this area. Your cages don't last too long, so make sure they don't struggle or your cage ends. This is really important. Here's me doing it the other way around. It just didn't work for me. I just like doing the final cage first and then the cage I'm at. But yeah, that is how I would chair a survivor in a chair that's far away. But just be careful because if that cage runs out, you were kind of cooked. Not completely, but like you will lose some time. But Yeah, it's also important to chair in the middle of the map, because you can, if you're in a 4% VC, you can just raise your hand up, and the person on chair is gonna communicate, hey, they're aiming their cage at you, and the people are gonna get off their ciphers and get scared, and eventually, they're gonna try to call your bluff, and that is when you teleport and kill them. So it's really funny. I've done it, I think, in a lot of practices, probably some scrims and tournaments, definitely in some scrims. But yeah, it's a really funny trick to do. So yeah. This one's really simple, but I think it's still worth mentioning. It's usually happens with puppeteers or perfumers, is they don't want to be caged somewhere, teleported out, or they just don't want you to put a cage at a pallet. So they'll just kind of hug you because they know you can't hit them. And so the easiest way to counter it is just to block their escape route. Simple as that. You just put a cage down right there, and they have nowhere to go. That should last long enough for perfumer puppet to wear down, and yeah, they'll take a hit. Very simple again. Just thought it was worth mentioning because I've seen it happen in tournaments before. Again, just another cage trick worth mentioning. I've seen Xiaoma and Alex do this in their rank matches, where they kind of just put down a cage like right in front of them and they go through it. I think it's mostly for camping. So that you're outside the cage, and I don't know, they have to break it yourself while you get a hit. It's kind of hard to do it, but I think it's worth mentioning just because it's a cool camping trick you can do if you can walk outside your own cage. So yeah, that's it. Magician and Aeroplanist are two of the best kiters against Goatman. That is because one cage is equal to one jetpack or one wand. You can use one wand or one cage to kite out. One wand or one jetpack to kite a whole cage. So if you do the math, that's 5 whole cages you need to get it down. And it's worth with Flywheel or even the hover the Aeroplanist has. Those can buy an extra cage. So that's why you usually see Goatmans bring Blink if they're gonna chase those two. But a way to counter them kinda is to put down a cage in the exact, put down 2 cages in the exact precise spot is what I see works. Let me just wait until I do it, because again, this is recorded after. So my original recording just gone. I don't know why I did that, but just wait a second. Right here, I will do it. So I put a cage down, and then a couple seconds later, stagger them a little bit. You put a cage down in the exact same spot. Like, it doesn't have to be like super precise, but it just has to be a little precise. And one cage will go down, and then another cage will go down like 2 seconds later, and that is enough time for you to get a hit. Like a wand and jetpack just barely buy enough time for them to kite it out. So if you stagger them a little bit, you will get a hit. This is better than spending 80 energy on 2 hits on 2 cages. If you don't do it right, also you will also get like sent here, and you will probably lose the kite. So make sure you don't do that. Make them pretty accurate. This next cage trick is just a reminder. You can actually red light with your cage. If you're holding it up and walking backwards, you could do a red light trick, which is really funny and cool. Obviously it's gonna work better on high walls. It's not the most effective with Goatman because they're kind of always watching you to make sure when are you gonna put a cage up and where. But if you do this in high walls like this or in corner house, it can be very, very, very good and help you get a surprise hit. Also, at the early game, don't be afraid to take a chip hit. Taking a chip hit in the early game, not using energy, is totally fine because you get presence and your next hit will unlock the backstep. So, and backstep is very powerful. You can get really nice hits with those. Now, if you were to ask for my favorite cage trick, it is this one right here. This one. So normally buildings and like large obstacles will result in black box, right? Like black cages where you can't go through. But for whatever reason, the edge of the map works in different rules. I'm not sure why, but I'm so glad it does. If you do a cage at the edge of the map, you will get sent here, right at the edge of the map, and there is no return cage. So it's, oh my god. So it's very nice because if you put a cage down, like just pretending 2 pallets are down, you put a cage down here, you go through the cage, you are right in the survivor's face, and there is nothing they can do about it. There is no, they either vote into you or they can't double back to the cage to try to cage mind game you. They simply just die. And that is why it's my favorite cage. It's very funny to do, and it's very powerful. You can do this at, I think every edge of the map has a spot like this where you can just appear from the edge of the map, and the survivors, again, they have nothing to do, and they just simply die. So this is the next cage trick for camping. This works if you are gonna cut. You can cut someone off to either stuff them or make the save after half. Because normally that's probably what you're gonna do. You're gonna put a cage down and hit. But if you are able to cut them out early, you can really easily get a stuff, even against like or even make it after half against like an officer. So what you do is you make the cage big and far away from the chair, so that it is a normal cage breaking lengths. Because if they're too close to the chair, the cages will break down really quickly. But if not, you make them far, just far enough. The survivors will have to take the whole time to break the chair. So what you do is you put down the cage, and then you just, oh, I think I messed it up here, but put down this cage, and you put down another one. If I decide to do that, I don't remember. Yeah, put down another one. This cage right here, you take a hit, and that cage will not disappear. This cage right here, I just put down, it will not disappear when you take a hit. So the survivors will have to waste their hit speed boost breaking the cage. You can really easily get a stuff like that, or even just delay it to after half, both of which should win you a game just automatically. So yeah, Goatman is a very good camper. Also, I think I'm gonna show you. I don't know what I'm gonna show you. You can also you can also teleport survivors back. So if survivors walking towards you, you put a cage down and they teleport, you can break it instantly, and they will get sent all the way back if they walk through, which is really powerful. It usually makes the save after half. And so yeah, try to get these saves after half. Try to get these stuffs in. You know, the meta characters have rebound against Goatman. Like Professor has a lot of rebound against Goatman, and that's why he's always being picked. He just has incredible rebound, because after every chair, he's gonna get his skills back and kite you for out of tie turner, hopefully, for them. You probably know by now that Goatman has a bit of delay before you can swing when he puts on a cage. There's a little animation that plays that forces you to just lift up your hand while the cage is being put up, and you cannot attack. So the way to do that is you have to use a back step and also swing at the same time to animation cancel. So here, we'll teleport to survivor right here, and you back step first, cage, and then swing. If you do that quick enough, it will animation cancel the normal animations, and you can immediately hit after putting a cage down. It's very good because sometimes you genuinely don't have the time to wait for that cage animation trick to happen, like a gravekeeper rescuing. So yeah, very important trick to know there. And yeah, that is all the tricks I have to show you for now. Right now, we're gonna watch my GSL match. Just a little bit, like barely watch it. Just to show you more of these the pallet cage tricks that I really couldn't show you because of the bots. I'll be showing you those in action and how they work. I did it multiple times in that match. Alright, here's a perfect example. I put a cage down while they're in a pallet, and they immediately get teleported out. And I would have gotten the hit, but I misclicked and put down a cage right there, and I messed up this cage. So yeah, but that was a good example. I think I do another one here. This is a perfect example of teleporting a survivor while they're in a pallet. Just right there. Did it again. This was cool too. So yeah, that's how you do it, and those are the clips I have of that cage trick. But yeah, that's gonna be the video. Thank you a lot for watching. Sorry about the first half. The audio is genuinely unbearable. So yeah, hopefully you stuck through to the end. I know it was really bad, but thank you for watching it, and I will be making I'll try to be making more videos. I'll try to get Goatman like Game Sense video too. But the biggest thing about Goatman is, you know, really any hunter is focused on the ciphers. Mid game, obviously just kill your person, but then once you're out, once you got the first person out, focus on the ciphers. Slowly wear down the survivors, get rid of their items, get rid of their health, and you will 4K. So yeah, thank you. Good luck on your Goatman journey. I learned most of these tips from watching tournaments, so make sure to watch tournaments as well. You will learn a lot. There's a lot of Goatman tournament videos out right now, so yeah. Thank you for watching. Bye. Look at Pearl. Pearl, get up. Pearl.